then, Vincent, can you help me with the slides? So, this is our, hello everyone, we're from BGBL. So BGBL is like an education initiative. Basically, we aim to provide high school or post-SPM students with like more resources and access to higher education because, you know, we're from the East Coast, we're not from the Klang Valley, and then we don't have as much resources, you know, to, or like opportunities, or get exposed to like, you know, information about higher education compared to our peers in like Klang Valley region or whatever. So Chinman is the founder of BGBL. Yeah, so she set up this somewhat non-profit organization. Yeah, so to help students like you to know more about what you can do after SPM. Right. So today's agenda, we'll talk about first pre-U options and then scholarships, like how you can find your studies locally and abroad. We'll touch like quite a surface level up for this, and then next we'll talk about how the scholarship process in detail, and then what's next, university and courses, which means what you can do with this pre-universities, like where it can lead you to if you want to study overseas or locally, etc. And then we'll open up the floor for questions. So just a bit about us, the speakers today, right? My name is Michelle Chu. I am from the SPM 2017 batch. So I graduated from SABS, as most of you know. And then I'm currently a Yayasan Tenaga National Scholar. I'm doing ADTP in Tech Shalam now before flying off to the US, hopefully this year.
Hi guys, I'm Yishan, I'm alumni of SABS from SPM 2018. So currently I'm studying in Foundation for French universities in UniCal MFI. So hopefully I'll get to fly this July. Yeah, and I'm a JPA scholar.
Hi, I'm Xuan Zhen Chen. Also graduated from SIBS, and I have a JPA Japan program. I'm going to apply next year.
Hi, I'm David Boyd. I finished my STPM in SABS last year.
Amalia?
Okay, hi everyone, my name is Amalia. I graduated from STPM also, and right now I'm studying ADTP in Tech before flying to New Zealand.
Do you want to do a mini intro?
Hi, I'm Xuan. Actually, I graduated from SMK way back in 2013. I took my SPM in 2013. And I went on to do IB using JPA bursary scholarship, and I'm now in Japan doing my microbial in biological science.
So let's just go through very generally. Most of you should have known already, like what are the pre-U options you can do after this, right? That you have, right? So for public options, which is normally, you know, more cost saving. First of all, you have STPM. So STPM is basically if you achieve like the entry requirement, then the Ministry of Education will give you an offer letter. You can check from the website, you print it, and then just you know, report yourself in the respective schools. So that's STPM. And matriculation for your year, this year, they'll have science stream, engineering stream, accounting stream, and professional accounting stream for Bumi Progress. So for this one, if you guys wanted to apply for matrics, you should have already bought the pin last year while you're still studying, and then wait until like, you know, around 1 month later to get the results. And then, yeah, you can also do a right one if you didn't get in, but that also depends on whether the Ministry of Higher Education approved or the Bagian Matrikulasi approved or not, right? So, and then we also have Asasi. And the thing to take note about Asasi is that not all programs are available for everyone, right? So for example, for non-Bumi Progress, you only have Asasi Bintang in KM, Asasi UPM, I think it's Pengurusan or Sains Pertanian, and then Asasi UPNM, University Pertanian Nasional, and Asasi Pengurusan UUM. So do take note of that when you're applying, because if you apply to courses that you're not eligible for example, you apply to courses that are only offered for Bumi Putra only, then you definitely wouldn't be able to get in no matter how good your results are. For Bumi Putras, of course, you don't have to worry. There's a lot of options available for you. You can do FSCUM, UIAM, UITM, UNIMAS, UMS. You can apply to everything, obviously. Okay? So next, also we have PPI SMP. That's also government sponsored. PPI SMP is actually for those who want to be a teacher. So yeah, government sponsors you to be a teacher and then you work with the MOE. That's also, you need to do your application via UPU, and then you have certain requirements that you have to fulfill. And there's also, let's say if your SPM results isn't that good, there's also the option of doing diploma or certificates in like public or government funded polytechnics, etc. Okay, for private pre-university options, okay, we have private university foundation programs. These are normally offered by the private universities themselves. So like you normally continue your degree in those private universities. It's normally very time saving because you only do it for 1 year, but you need to know already what you want to specialize, right? So yeah, if you don't know what you want to do yet at this moment, then foundation might not be a very good option for you. And then like for foundation, there's a lot of types of university that you can be admitted in. Local universities like, for example, Sunway, for example. Foreign university, domestically, you have those like Nottingham. And then foreign university overseas is like if you go to Australia and decided to do your pre-university program, then get admitted there, right? And then A-Levels, which is a very popular option. You can do it for 1 year, 1.5 years, or 2 years, depending on depending on your wish. And then we also have IB, which is what Chinman and Amalia also did that before. We have SACE as well, or OSMED in some colleges. That is for those who want to go to Australia. And then CIMP, less popular, but it's also an option. That is for those who want to go to Canada. And then the ADTP program, which is popular for those who want to go to the States, and also diploma programs. So we also have other options. For example, if you're interested in accounting, you can do ACCA or ICAEW via their pre-programs such as CA and CFAB. This is when you don't have to study for a degree, but you can just study for specialize in the accounting program and get a professional certificate. And then if you're a more hands-on person, you can also do technical and vocational education and training. That's also offered by the government. So we just went through very briefly about the programs, right? So maybe you'll be interested to know what we did for pre-U. I think we should hear from David first because he went through the STPM, option, which it might not be very popular among people because you might have the notion that STPM is only for people who don't score well, for example. But actually, STPM can bring you can lead you to a lot of places, right? So yeah, and he also talk a bit about matrix because he has friends that are familiar with that. So, yeah, David.
Okay, I'm David Goy. Okay, I'll tell you about how I chose STPM as my path. Okay, before STPM, I was SPM graduate from AP. I put it. You don't know APM. A lot of those straight A students in AP, and then I'm this very low student. I cannot get anything and I did a stupid mistake. I forgot to apply for matriculation, but actually I don't think it's a mistake because I cannot get in anyway. And so I chose STPM. Wait, before I chose STPM, I had an argument between going through pre-U foundation in university or college. Between that and STPM. I did not want to do STPM at all. I really don't want to do STPM at all because from what I heard from my brother and my sister, STPM is really, really hard. But honestly, I did not regret. Taking STPM is a very big step to develop your own personality and your own mindset to be more mature. Okay, and that. Yes, it was a big argument between my parents and me because I wanted to do IT, programming wise, in a foundation in T. If I'm not mistaken, it's in T. So it did it did not end well because my parents, typical Asian parents, they will ask you to do STPM first. I don't know. For me, my parents are like that, but I don't blame them. So to avoid arguments between me and them, I'm forced to take STPM. And during the STPM, it was easy for me because my classmates were all from AP as well. So it wasn't very hard to get into the social network between them. Okay, what else to talk about STPM? Okay, STPM is, you're not like foundation or diploma and everything. You go to school same as you go to school in during SPM, all that, during your Form 4 and Form 5 years. You're still tied down by school regulations. You still need to follow the disciplinary teacher. If SBS here, right? You know Miss Crack, right? You know lah. Do this, kena marah there, do that, kena marah, yeah, like that one lah. And then, but just ignore all of that. Okay. In STPM, you're able to choose. Okay, I talk about science first. Okay. In science, there's two options. One is you take physics or biology. You can take an extra subject as well. If you go to Google, there's a list down on what extra subjects you can take. Okay. And then for arts, there's what they call as a package, and the package is like a 2 core subject and another 2 that you choose yourself. But it's follow package by school. For SBS, is, if I'm not mistaken, it's geography and science sukan, or geography or economy, or sejarah with science sukan, or sejarah with pengajian perniagaan. Okay. Actually, there's a lot more packages that they offer in other schools and SBS as well. Just that I did not go and take a look. So, okay, how STPM is? It's semester based. You got 3 semesters. First semester usually is the most to study, and you have around 5 months to get ready. And the 6th month is your examination, like real examination for your first semester. Second semester typically is a bit shorter than the first semester, but you only got 4 months to get ready. And the 5th month will be the second semester examination. Third semester, usually they call it as the hardest semester because it's more to application, like modern studies right now, and there's a lot of lab work, assignments, and yeah, lab work and assignments. That's all. But for arts, it's different. Arts, there's a lot of assignments to do because for arts, exams is lower. The weightage is lower than your assignment. So if you do your assignment, you do a bit of your exam. If you get a C, confirm pass. For arts, not for science. And then for science, okay. So far, you guys got any questions? Like, is the information relevant? Yes. Okay. All right. And then, okay. After you finish your second semester, during your third semester, you have this retake. You call it as retake for semester 1 and semester 1 and semester 2. And that is when you finish your third semester examination. And then you have roughly around 3 weeks to get ready for your first semester re-exam, which is 3 weeks. You have to study back again your first semester on what you studied, go through it, everything. On the 4th week is the start of your retake. So you have to go in and just hunt down whatever you know. And yeah, after that one, you got 3 days to prepare for your semester 2. The 4th day is the start of your semester 2 retake exam. So if you say STPM is the hardest, I would say it's hard, but it's not the hardest. It's really tough because of the time constraint that you have to absorb everything in a very short period of time, and you have to be hardworking every day. You cannot play. Honestly, I'm the type of person that always procrastinate and always play. But when you reach to STPM, I don't even see any time to play at all. Like serious. It's either you study or you die. Yes, okay. And then, yeah, typically your 1 year and a half will be quite tough because beside from just studying, come to school studying, you have events, you have Form 6 events trying to help you with your curriculum, because your curriculum also play a big factor when you're choosing your university, because there's such thing as a merit score. A merit score is your CGPA, which is only 80%, and your curriculum is 20%. So when you count out, let's say, okay, I'll talk about mine. My CGPA is 3.0, my curriculum is 8.9, which is out of 10. And my merit is only 77%. Meanwhile, if you get a 3.5, your merit will be 85%. So that's how it works when you're choosing a university. They follow your merit scores. And yeah, that is like after STPM and when you're choosing UPU already. Okay, UPU is you're choosing your government university, local universities. Okay, and when choosing your local university, there's a cutoff point on your pointer. That's one. And then after the cutoff point, let's say there is 3,000 students plus matriculation, plus diploma, plus foundation students. You, STPM, and one more. Okay, no more. All those students are chasing, is like competing for that spot for the course you want in that specific university. So let's say there's 3,000 students, and that course only offers 160 seats. So you're actually competing with all the students with your merit score. And yeah, that's it. Any questions about STPM? You're afraid, yeah. Yeah, actually, actually, it's very fun. You can say you come to school, you meet your friends every day, you get to talk to the teachers like friends. Because if you're not friends with the teachers, you cannot learn. No? It's like the teacher is the only savior you have. It's like if you want to study yourself, you can. Very hard because it takes a lot of time to analysis on what you read. And then, okay. Besides that, the most complicated one is STPM versus matriculation. You all always learn one, right? Like always versus one. I also don't know. I don't care. But okay lah. I'll talk about a bit of matriculation. Matriculation is. Wait, you guys know what matriculation is? Yeah. The biggest difference between matriculation and STPM is the certificate when you graduate. STPM certificate is international certified, but matriculation is under Malaysia government only. So you can, when you take your matriculation, you can apply for those scholarships and all, but it's not your matriculation certificate, it's with your SPM certificate. So if you take in matriculation, you must go in local university. And what I heard from matriculation is that they offer you a few courses and you only choose from that. If the course you don't like, bye-bye. You cannot Ryu, you cannot do anything. You can Ryu once, but the probability of you getting it is only 20%. I can say it's 20% because I think it's 20%. Okay. And then okay lah. I have a friend studying STPM. Then he write you for matriculation. He got it. But after a few days of him thinking, he decided not to go because what he told me was matriculation is under government base, which is 100% government base, and as you know right now, politics is very messy. So once you get into matriculation, you don't know what's happening. Politics die, you die together with them. And what's the worst about matriculation? I'm not trying to roast matriculation. Matriculation is really nice also. You get to go to a local university in a short time and get for flat. In matriculation, you can really easily get for flat. The reason why is when you do your examination for matriculation, the examiner is your own teacher. So if you're friends with that teacher, you treat him really good, treat her really good, you should get A one. I'm serious. I'm just speaking the truth from matriculation because basically all my friends went to matriculation, but some of them came to SPM with me. And then talking about the worst part of matriculation is that when you're applying for the course that you want in the university that you want, if you're fighting against STPM student, okay, this one is also real news. Okay, 2.67 for the STPM student fighting with matriculation 4.0 student. You guys guess who got the course? STPM, because that university prioritize on STPM students because they know that matriculation only study. Okay, let's say this is the iceberg. Matriculation studies until here, but their coursework is until here. STPM is the whole thing. So we study more in a short period of time, and while matriculation has coursework to help them get an A. We also do, but the weightage is very low. So it's only a slight boost for STPM if you do your coursework well. It's only one grade, which is not like not like C to B, it's C to C+. That's the small boost we get for STPM. So yeah. But if you guys choose matriculation, it's not really a bad choice. You get to go to a local university, shortcut. It's like you have no problems getting into it. But honestly, from my opinion, I would not recommend you guys to go. Honestly, because politics is very messy right now. So, anything to ask? Any questions? No. Thank you.
Next up can be you can save your questions, or if you're shy to ask him like in front of so many people, you have his we'll give you his contact later, and we'll also add you guys into a WhatsApp group so you guys can PM him or email him, just pester him however you want to. Yeah. Okay. Next, can we have Amalia? So she'll explain a bit on ADTP and what is it, right? Yeah, sure.
Alright, okay. So have you ever heard about American Degree Transfer Program? No. Okay, so the name itself is American Degree Transfer Program. So it's like you are doing your degree but halfway. So this program basically is a credit transfer option where For example, like you do your study in Malaysia for 2 years, and then you will continue your study to overseas for another 2 years, or you can do it in Malaysia for 1 year, or continue for 3 years at overseas. Okay, and then usually people will go to the US, but then as for me, I will further my study to New Zealand. And for INTET, the ADTP in INTET, there are 3 semesters. First, for January until April, it will be the spring semester. And then May until June is the short sem, which is the summer semester. And then July until October will be the fall semester. So November until December is the time where you will have your break for 2 months. Okay, and then for each semester you will be taking around 4 to 5 subjects. So for your first year, usually you will be learning some basic subject, and then when you enter your second year, you will only be learning deep into your major. Okay, so ADTP is not like A-level, where A-level you are assessed 100% based on your examination. But for ADTP, you will be assessed continuously through your assignment, coursework, presentations, and around 70% of your overall assessment will be graded, and the remaining 30% is graded through your final exam. Okay, and then do you understand? Like, do you have any questions? Okay. So what else I want? So like ADTP is actually very good if you want to develop your interpersonal skills and you want to study to the States. ADTP is also a flexible course because you can complete it at your own pace. You can actually take how many subjects that you want actually. And then if you prefer continuous assessment, and unlike A-level, which A-level is more like SPM, right? When you have one big exam at the end. So ADTP is not like that. What else? Michelle, you have anything?
Some things about ADTP is like, unless you really want to go to the States lah. If not, personally, I don't recommend you to. Because even after like you finish 2 years of ADTP, unless you want to continue into a local university, you have to start fresh. So your degree is not your. Although you can transfer credits to the States, but you cannot transfer credits in Malaysia. So ADTP is treated like a normal pre-U program, but you have to do at least 2 years. Whereas there's a lot of other courses that are more fast-tracked or like maybe more useful, for example, A-levels. Yeah, so yeah, a lot of people that do ADTP and continue into local use, it's a bit time-wasting because you go back in as a freshman, as a first-year student, although it might be easier for you because some of the things you have already studied in ADTP, because it's a degree course, right? So it's actually a bit more difficult compared to some other pre-U courses like SACE, OSMED, or like foundations, for example, because you need to study degree level stuff. But then, yeah, if you enroll into a public university, then you just have to do 1 or 2 years all over again, and then so it's like no difference compared to like just any other pre-U programs. So unless you really want to transfer to the States, it can be very time saving because, for example, you can choose to do a certain amount of credits, and then when you transfer over, normally in the States you need 4 years, but you can complete your degree in 3 years. Yeah, so then by 22 you can graduate already, which is faster than your peers in your batch. So But there's also another thing, if you want to get admitted into good universities in the States, right? So if you only do 1 year of ADTP, it's normally counted as like your year 12 of secondary education, because in the States they would need to have like 12 years of education overall. So they'll count like your first year of ADTP as like your secondary education. So you won't get to transfer any credits and then you go there and do 4 years. Yeah. So, and sometimes the transfer credit thing is very difficult to navigate. So because my brother personally, he did ADTP as well, and then he had some problems, and initially my parents wanted him to like, you know, fast track his entire studies, but he ended up doing it, he ended up extending the time of his study duration, because first of all he changed majors, but that's also another good thing about ADTP, you can change your majors anytime you want. Yeah, because it's your time and your money. So yeah, and also some ADTP programs, they offer like a 3+0 thing, so basically you complete your entire degree in Malaysia, and it's very, very time saving, because, you know, 3+0, you go in right after SPM, you finish in 3 years, and then you get a degree, right? So yeah, but these are the things that you might need to take into account when deciding whether it's for you or not. Like what she said, ADTP is very continuous assessment based. Basically, you just need to know what you're doing during the semester, because, for example, you can fail one quiz score your 2 others, you can still get an A+. Yeah, so you can choose when to study and when not to study. So that's like the beauty of it, and that's what I always do, you know. So like sometimes when I'm not in a good mood, I'm like, okay, I have 2 tests left. No point studying for this test. Yeah, and then I'll still manage to get an A, for example. So as long as you know what you're doing, like study smart. It's a study smart program, not a study hard program. Yeah. For example, and then I'll also share a bit about A-Levels and SACE, because all my friends are taking that. A-Levels is very similar to STPM. It's like, they have AS and A2. AS normally people take in like year 1 and then A2 in their second year, right? Or like you can do fast track like 1.5 year or so. The very important thing about pre-U programs is that, for example, if you want to transfer overseas, right? If you want to go overseas for your studies, you need to know when's the like admissions period. So, for example, why some people they do fast track for A-Levels is because they want to get into a certain admission window. If not, you will need to wait for example, another semester or another year to, fly to the country that you want to. So be mindful of that. Be mindful of the admissions window of the country, so that you can plan for how long you want to take your pre-U program, and whether it will be a suitable time frame for you to study overseas or not. And then it's very, very exam based. A-Levels is basically you don't have to go to class, you can study yourself as long as you score at the end of the day, because 100% it's external, right? It's either by Cambridge or EdXL, and then it's 100% like it's like SPM, 100% based on that one piece of paper that you sit at the end of your year 1 or year 2. And for A-Levels, you can also resit actually. Yeah, but definitely it'll take more time as well when you resit and stuff like that. So but if you get like good A-Levels results, for example, you get like AA or so, then you can transfer into really good universities in the UK and even the US as well. So like, your Oxbridge, Ivy League also, A-Levels can be a good option for applying to these universities. And another thing is that A-Levels is also for people who are not very sure on what they want to major in at this point, because you can just, do either sciences or art. Of course, it's like SPM. If you do arts, you cannot take up science majors in your universities. And then, you can just either do sciences or arts, and then decide on your major when you finish like the 2 years of your A-Levels. Yeah. So A-Levels, if you do very well in tests, then you don't have to worry, because it's test-based. Yeah, but if you're not a person who does well in exam, then you might need to consider whether you want to take up A-Levels, because it's a one-shot thing, right? You either live or you die. Okay, so next is about SACE or OSMED. That's also increasingly popular these few years. SACE or OSMED is also a coursework-based program. They have 70% internally, which is marked by your own lecturers in your colleges, and 30% external from the board in Australia, depending on which examination board you're taking. So the 70% assessment consists of like tests, quizzes, and for English maybe it consists of like assignments and stuff like that. But for courses like maths or sciences, it's more to quizzes and tests. But it's continuous in the sense that you have a series of quizzes and tests like within the 1 or 1.5 year period. And it's also relatively short. It's also a relatively short program because some people can just finish in 1 year and then fly over to Australia. It's a very good program if you want to study in Australia because it's very easy to get admissions there. It's not very difficult to get admissions into Australia. You like if you can score like 70 plus, or like if you're a scholar, normally the cutoff point is only 85. But yeah, it's very easy for people to score in that test because it's somewhat SPM level. Yeah, things that you have already studied because it's also year 12 in Australia. So it shouldn't be a lot of problem if you're already doing well in SPM. Same thing, you just need to be mindful of what you're doing, like take note of where your course grades are, because the thing with their 70% and 30% thingy is that, for example, if your 70% coursework you have already obtained an A+, and then in your 30% exam that is marked externally, you only obtain an A-, your final grade can still be an A+. So it also depends on the weightage like STPM. So the most important thing is definitely your internal assessment because it holds 70%, right? So yeah, same. Continuous assessment programs need you to know what you're doing because it's not a one-time thing, right? You need to work hard for the entire 1 or 1.5 year duration. If you score well, then you have no problem getting into like good universities, Melbourne, Sydney, ANU, UNSW, etc. Because yeah, the cut point is not very high, and as long as you reach a certain like the requirements, the ATAR requirements, which is like the marks they use in the program, then you can definitely get into the university. They don't look at any other thing. For example, to UK, you might still need to write a personal statement. To US, you have a very lengthy application process for every university. But yeah, for Australia, as long as you manage to reach like the cutoff point that they want you to achieve, then confirm you will be admitted into the university. Alright, so Yishan will talk about foundation programs in general because she's doing a pre-French foundation program, right? She'll tell you like what are the pros and cons of doing that.
So since I'm taking foundation, so I'll share with you guys about a bit about foundation. But foundation is mostly a uni-based program, so it's quite short, usually around 1 year, and after that you'll continue for degree. But the problem of foundation is that it's uni-based, so it's up to the uni to decide like the subjects and stuff. So personally, for my foundation, it's quite specific. Mine is called Foundation for Sciences Po and Business Management Schools in France. So it's quite specific. Like I study subjects that are related to political science and business management. So after that, my degree is all about business management or political science. So when you have to choose like your foundation program, you have like a bit of mindset of what you want to study later in university. So there are also more general foundation like foundation in arts or foundation in science, depending on the school you choose. And something about foundation is there are different structures as well. Like it's my God, sorry for that. Yeah. Okay, so it's very school based. Like the semesters you have and the pointers, how they decide your points. So some are assessment based or some are test based. So for mine, the pointer is quite different from the Malaysian kind of pointers. It's using like the French way of calculating points. Like we have something over 20, so it's quite different. And also ours is quite test based. So we have like a few tests and then finals for each semester, and then we average it out. But that actually depends on the university itself as well. And another thing about foundation is usually you guys will usually, but not always, people will continue in the same university for foundation, because this particular foundation that you take is not usually it's not like accepted in some other universities. So you have to make sure, like if you decide to change uni like after your foundation, you have to make sure that your foundation is accepted in this particular university. So make sure you think well before choosing your foundation program. Yeah, that's about it.
So this is doing a very special program, right? It's called the Japan Preparatory program. It's not very well known because it's only offered at like very selected colleges, but it's also an option for, even if you're not a scholar, you can actually study that program if you want to go to Japan. It's like, you know, it's quite a good because a lot of courses in Japan will use Japanese, for example. Then that program will prepare you in terms of like language and stuff like that. So you go through the experiences of like a high school student in Japan.
Yes.
Hear from you.
Okay, so like I just said, I was in the Japan Preparatory program. So studying in that, but I think there's 3 schools that actually provides this one. The first is in University Malaysia. I think it's called AUJ. AJ. And then in my school it's called KTJ, which means for Kumpulan Technical Jepun. So we get to study engineering further on. And then the third one I should forget. I basically don't know about anything about that. So yeah, so before I talk about KTJ, my Japan program, I actually didn't get this JPA scholarship at first. So what I thought instead of this, there are several choices for me. The first one is that I will go to the Sunway A-Level because it's under the so it's actually a bit cheating, but it's under two scholarship at one time. The first one is the Sunway will provide a 100% scholarship if you get 9A+. And then the second one is you will get scholarship if you go for the JPA 9A+ program as well. So this university-based scholarship actually synergizes with this government scholarship. And so don't say anything about this first. So other than A-level, I also considered STPM. but a lot of teachers actually tell me not to go for STPM because they say I have better choices than STPM, like A-level or other programs. So after I do my Rayuan, I actually didn't thought I would get this JPA program. But then one day I got called that I actually got the scholarship, so I just went for this program, JPA Japan program. So this JPA Japan program, before you get to university, you study for 5 years. So this JPA program Japan program is like the longest program, one of the longest pre-U programs you can ever get to see. So you get to study 2 years in Malaysia for Japan preparatory program, and 3 years in Japanese. In Japan, I think it's like I can say it's a bit like vocational school, but yeah, it's a bit like vocational school. We call it Khazanah there. So in the Japan, in my KTJ program, it is very like high school. You wake up very early every day. Yes, you wake up very early every day. I wake up every day 6:30, about 6:30, because you have to catch the bus to Intact. You live in a hostel. You have to catch the bus to Intact, and the bus will forever be late. So so currently for the last few weeks if you didn't catch the first bus, you confirm be late. And because in this program, there will be Japanese teachers teaching. If you are late and the class is a Japanese teacher, and the first class is Japanese teacher teaching, you will definitely get scolded. That's how it works. So basically, and there's zero coursework or assignments or something like that. So what you do instead is every day you get homeworks for every single class, and then you have to for every vocabulary test, for every vocabulary class there will be a short test, and for every this is kanji class. Kanji class is like Chinese character class, because we actually use Chinese character in Japanese. There will also be short tests. So but this short test doesn't really matter. For every 1 to 2 weeks, there will be a revision test that they will test for your grammar, vocab, kanji, and also listening. So normally the listening part is where everyone struggles in. So so there's 4 semesters in total for these 2 years in Malaysia. The first semester you will study Japanese, and so every semester you will study Japanese and science subjects such as maths, physics, and chemistry. So the first semester you will study maths, physics, chemistry in English, but for the rest of the semester you study all of them in Japanese, and you will get textbooks in Japanese as well. So after these 2 years of studies, there will be one final exam. It's very like SPM. So if everything you decide on this one final exam, it's what we call it is one Kasho exam. So one Kasho is the name for the Ministry of Education in Japan, and so this paper is administered by this ministry itself, and so you just need to pass this paper to get to fly to Japan. So that's basically how these 2 years are. You have Japanese teachers teaching you, and you get to study a bit of culture of Japan as well, because those Japanese teachers will inform you about these things before you fly to Japan. So after you fly to Japan, there will be 3 years diploma before you actually go to your university. So this 3-year diploma, as I said, we'll get to study in the Japanese vocational school. Yeah, it's a bit like vocational school. There's no direct translation for it currently. So you will get to choose which course you want to study when during your study in 2 years in Malaysia, but you won't get to choose which school you will get to enter. So basically, after you pass your exam, and then you have to wait until about this time. Like my seniors, they only get to know which school they get in by last week. It's the selection is random. So we don't know which school we will get. We totally don't know which school we will get. The only thing we know is which course we will get, because that's the only thing you get to select. So for me, I will get to study. I want to study computer science. So in Japan, it's called Johor, or if you want to do direct translation, it's called information engineering. Also, one thing to mention about the Japan program is because we only do engineering course, which means we don't get to study biology during the 2 years in our preparatory course. But for other JPA programs like German and Korea, you get to choose for science and technology. The science and technology is, which means you can study for biology. So I also touch something about the German program because I actually live together with friends of German programs. So for German programs, you actually do A-Levels. Yeah, A-Level 2 years, and unlike Japan, you study everything in English except for your German, of course. So I have friends that study biology, and also a STEM friend that study physics. So it's actually you choose between physics or biology. And after you study 2 years here, you get to choose which university you want to get in, and then you will apply for university using your A-level results. And then after you got into German, after you get in German, you will study everything in German there. So let's get back to my Japan program. So after you study finish your previous program, it's finally time to get to your university. Your university will be only 2 years because you already studied 3 years in diploma in Japan. So the 2 years, first is how you apply for university. So there's actually certain restrictions when you want to apply for university in Japan if you follow this JPA Japan course. So the main restriction comes in when you want to choose a university which is not that well known. So we will have something called the JABI list, which means this university is certified internationally for engineering courses, and so those schools in the JABI list are the ones that you get to choose. But then for those universities that are well known, like the Tokyo University or Kyoto University, Osaka University, something like that. For what I hear is generally there's no problem choosing those universities, provided you get to pass their entrance exam. And then so one thing about the Khazanah is, so during your third year and fourth, during your years in Khazanah, if you get really good results, like top 5 or top 3, then there will be something called a recommendation letter. The lecturers will give recommendation letters. So with the recommendation letters, you can straight away got in to the university without taking the entrance exams. So that's basically how the Japan program works.
Thank you for your very informative session. Yeah, to provide them a glimpse of the lesser known pre-U programs that you can do. So I think we didn't touch on for example CIMP, diploma, and IB. If anyone is interested in IB, you can ask Chinman. Yeah, because she did IB before she went over to Japan. And for IB, you can only do it if you're a science student, because you need to take science courses during IB, right? Really? Yeah, but you also need to take science courses if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, that's why when I read through the criteria to study the program, you need to be a science student, like pure science stream student to take IB. Or at least you need to take up at least 2 pure science subjects. You can't be an art student. Okay. but if you want to know more about IB, you can ask Chinman about it. And then diploma, for example, the benefits of diploma is like you can straight away, it's a longer duration of study, but the thing is it's not a degree program, but like you can work straight away after you finish your diploma, right? So like it gives you like a certain certificate that holds more weight than just your SPM. Whereas like other PU programs, you can't really get anywhere with those certificates. But for diploma, because the course itself is also very hands-on, very practical, and you do a lot of like coursework that are very hands-on during your diploma studies. That's why like once you finish diploma, maybe you want to take a break from studying, you can go out and try working and stuff like that first before deciding on whether to continue your degree. So yeah, I also have some friends who are doing diploma, and if anyone is interested in any specific courses, we might be able to connect you to them as well. And then CIMP, I did some research on that when I was back in high school because I wanted to go to Canada initially. Yeah, so I applied for like some way special scholarship for CIMP. I got it, but I didn't go because I was waiting for other scholarships. But CIMP is also very coursework based. And yeah, it also requires you to do like, for example, some research as well as some community service, things like that lah. It's more curated like to suit the Canadian education system. Yeah, and normally only people who want to go to Canada will do it. But there's also a lot of other options for you to choose from if you want to go to Canada because yeah, it's not very popular and very little universities colleges are offering that program actually. Yep. So moving on. So financial support that is available for local education if you're worried about like financial stuff, right? So for example, if you want to study locally, then you'll be able to get grants, scholarships, and financial aid from universities or institutions. I believe like you have heard from colleges or universities that came to promote, like for example, if you have a certain amount of A's or like you are good in sports, or you're good in music, etc., in co-curricular activities, they'll give you like a certain amount of tuition fee waiver, right? So those are the kinds of financial aid that you can get from universities or colleges, and then you can also get from private companies for local education. In fact, there's actually quite a number of companies that offer scholarships for local studies because it's relatively cheaper as well. So your options are wider lah. And then for example, to apply for these scholarships, the requirement is also not as high as compared to if you were to apply for an overseas scholarship. And yeah, so I wouldn't say it will be less competitive because there's still a lot of people that will be vying for these scholarships. But yeah, for example, if you want to study the more competitive courses, medicine or whatever, that have very small chances of scholars willing to sponsor you, sponsors willing to fund your studies overseas, then you can look into these options as well. But the thing with companies is that you usually have to serve a bond with them after you complete your studies, and if you decide to break your bond, then you have to pay back like a very hefty amount of money. Okay. And then you also have charity funds or foundation trust funds, for example, the ones from newspapers that you have heard of before, maybe Star Education Fund. These are normally targeted towards students who have like a lower family income, so maybe the B40 group, for example. Then and it's only for like local studies that you wanna, and it's only for certain courses, right? Like not all the courses they'll sponsor you. Like I saw a lot of the courses are like foundation or like diploma, for example. So they will usually give you a list of courses and colleges that you can that they'll sponsor you, that they'll tell you so you can look into the list. If there's anything that you want to, then you can definitely apply to this funds lah. But keep in mind that it's not targeted towards like academically well students, but it's targeted towards people who would have financial difficulties in continuing their education, their tertiary education. So don't be sad if you don't get it lah, basically. Yeah, because there might be more people who need the that opportunity. And then there's also PTPTN. Basically, if you go through matrix, right, and then you go into public university or even a private university, you can actually apply for PTPTN. And for example, in public universities, my friend studies in currently, the cost is very low. So PTPTN is more than enough to cover like your course fees and everything, etc. And so although like you loan like a certain you get like a certain amount of money, right? The extra they'll just bank into your account. So it becomes like pocket money already. Yeah. So PTPTN is a very good option as well. And there's also things like if you get good results, then you'll be able to get waiver and something like that. But also because a lot of people are not paying back their PTPTNs nowadays, so they are a bit more stricter on that already. Yeah, and also other study loans that are offered from time to time by different organizations, different universities, different companies, and then we also have financial support available for overseas education. First of all, we have like grant scholarships or financial aid from local governments, which are the governments that in the countries that you plan to further your studies in, right? So there are many foreign countries that offer scholarships for international students: Japan, UK, Canada, USA, Germany, to name a few. But these scholarships are mostly like degree level, so you at least need to finish your pre-U before you apply for this scholarship. So even if you don't get a scholarship in your pre-U, but you still plan to further your studies overseas, then you can try searching up for these scholarships. Okay, and then of course our own Malaysian government scholarship, we have JPA, MARA, and JPA-MARA. MARA and JPA-MARA is only for Burmese. JPA is for everyone. So JPA, there's a few types, right? For example, there's the 9A+ one, where you can study in any local university, and then they'll just fund your entire education, right? And then for the JKPJ, is the Japan, Korea, France, German program, and this year they also added China in the list. Yeah, yes, they added China. Yeah, for science and tech. So I think it's gonna open soon, or it has already opened. But yeah, you can try searching up on the JPA official website. And they are actually, based on what I've heard from my friends, the competition varies from country to country. For example, they say it's a lot harder to get into France because of the way the program is structured, but it's relatively easier to get into Japan because not a lot of people want to opt for like a 7-year.
The easiest to go into
yeah, German, Japan, for example, because not a lot of people like German and Japan, their study division is very long.
German is 6 years.
Yeah.
Japan is 7 years.
Yeah, so not a lot of people would want to go through that, right? That's why it's the least popular option. But for like France, some of their engineering students fly off straight after SPM.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So depends on which country you want to go to, and like the interview process is the same, but even when you think you might fare better than your teammates, for example, in the interview, you might not be able to get it depending on the competition of your program. Okay, and then there's also the JPA PPM program. I've not known anyone that have gotten that yet. Unfortunately, that's for people who have at least like 9A+, and then Malaysian government only sponsors around 20 people per year. The interview process is also, it takes place the same as the JKPJ program because they do like a one-shot assessment. But yeah, depends on whether you get it or not. Normally people they say like, if you really want to go for PPN, because you can apply to UK and US top universities through PPN, right? But the thing is, they say if you really want to go for PPN, don't apply for JKPJ. But it's actually a high risk because PPN is very, very competitive. So a lot of people will still choose to apply for both, but the chances of getting JKPJ is a lot higher than getting PPN. Okay, and then MARA and JPA-MARA as well. The one Amalia will share a bit about on those scholarships later because she got both the scholarships. And then universities and institutions also have scholarships. Some can offer up to like full tuition fees. Full tuition fees waiver for like their students, right? So it depends on like the countries and the universities, like depends on their own policies. And yeah, so don't limit yourself. If you really want to study overseas, there's always a lot of options for you to look around. It's just like, remember to keep researching and keep asking around. then companies, like what I said earlier, also usually with bond. And for overseas studies, it's very limited. Not a lot of companies will offer their students to study overseas because it's very costly, right? For example, my YTN and my Petronas scholarship, the figure on the agreement is like 700,000. Yeah, so if they are to spend like that amount of money on one student, of course they would not want to sponsor too many students, right? So it's very, very competitive. Some of the scholarship providers include Khazanah, Back2School, which are super, super competitive. Petronas, relatively easier to get. YTN as well. And UAM, some years they sponsor locally only, some years they sponsor overseas as well. SIMB and CIMB. But the thing also to take note with scholarships is that some of them also have like a financial cutoff. So if your family income is over a certain amount, then don't apply lah. Really, if you apply also, you definitely wouldn't get it, no matter how amazing you are or how excellent you are. So might as well, take your time to focus on scholarships that you would have, that you are eligible for and you would have the chance of getting. And then charity organizations as well. Yeah, same trust funds or foundations. These are also normally targeted towards lower income families. So the scholarship process, right? First of all, definitely these periods, start searching for scholarships, or actually even before you get your SPM results, you can already start searching, right? So use websites, talk to seniors, talk to people, talk to counselors, and watch out for like newspaper ads, etc. Or like social media is the best way nowadays. A lot of people will always compile comprehensive list of scholarships available. So try to click into every one of them and check like the requirements and whether you're eligible for it or not. Because some scholarships require, like for example, a certain number of A's, right? And same, if you don't reach the requirement, to be honest, there's really no point to apply for it because, yeah, that's already the minimum requirement, right? So a lot of people, not a lot, but there's still, a big group of people that would have scored higher than that. So they generally wouldn't really take into account your application. So yeah, the requirements are very important. And then applying for scholarships, depending on what you want. So this a lot of factors like went into this, right? Your major, for example, of course for very competitive courses like medicine, there's very, very little scholarships that are provided. And like your major, the country that you want to study in, the duration of your studies, etc. Yeah, all of this are the things that you will need to take into account while applying for scholarships, right? Because yes, you can apply for as many as you want, but definitely focus on the ones that you really, really, desire to get the most lah. Because some maybe you're like, even if I get, I won't go. You can apply for fun lah, to gain the interview experience or whatever. But yeah, definitely focus on the ones that you really want to get. And then, like what it stated here, prioritize what you want most. And then in the application process, it's very different depending on the scholarship providers. Some requires essays and personal statements. Some don't. Like for example, Khazanah and Back2School will require you to write an essay or personal statement. And then, of course, things like personal information, your family background, income, your grades. These are all things that are generally required in the application process. So do get your documents ready already. So when you want to fill out, you don't have to, search all over your house for all your documents or like, the important details, right? And then in some universities as well, there's like, some scholarship applicants, there's also psychometric tests during the first stage already. So that's actually very important. Although there's no set way to answer it, but maybe you can try to search up, similar personality tests online. It's very difficult to find one. Yeah, because for example, one of my friends, when she applied for the Shell scholarship, she didn't get through the first stage because like her first psychometric results came back and say like, you're not a person that works well with a team. But the questions are like very difficult to guess, So, try to maybe look for similar kinds of tests or like for example for those aptitude tests, right? Those test your IQ, right? So maybe you can try downloading apps like Pigs, or whatnot to practice a bit more. And yeah, don't forget all of your SPM things so fast, because
Yes.
maths, for example, is very important when you do all these aptitude tests. Because if you don't reach, for example, a certain level in the aptitude test, or you're not the person that they want in psychometric test, then even at the first stage you'll be like, bye bye. And then after that, if you get past the application stage, they vetted through your application, they think you're an okay candidate, then normally they'll ask you to come for an interview. Interview can come in a lot of forms, either phone interviews, in-person interviews, and then it can be one-on-one or group interviews. We will talk a bit on our interview experiences later as well. And then it also varies a lot depending on the kind of scholarships that you apply for, because different companies are obviously looking for different things, right? Of course, if you're interviewing with JPA, you need to be very patriotic, because you need to come back and serve the country, for example. And then, but if you're interviewing with a local private company, then you need to know, for example, TNB, they're doing electricity, then you need to know what they're doing. Because at the end of the day, you need to serve a bond, and whatever you study needs to be useful for you to serve the bond, right? So they don't want to just sponsor someone and let their money go to waste. There's no free lunch on them. Yeah. So it's very vital to know the organization that you're interviewing with. Definitely do a lot of research, and then really try to ask for prior experiences from seniors, even if it's a year older or a few years older, because sometimes they rotate the interview questions, or they rotate the what's it called, the stages, not really stages, but the process, right? So maybe they use back the process from 5 years ago for JPA, for example. Okay, so try to ask as many people as you can, and then if you really need help, then try to look for people that you can do mock interviews with. Always be prepared with the very generic questions: why you want to do this major, what you can contribute to our company with this major, etc. These are very, very generic questions that you should already have a set answer to, right? I mean, I'm not asking you to memorize your answers, but you need to go in prepared with this kind of answers, okay? Of course, there are also very spontaneous interview questions where they just ask you to sing and dance. Yeah, I mean, then just do whatever they ask you to. In most cases, it'll be okay. So yeah, it really depends on the kind of scholarship that you're applying for. And normally in group interviews as well, your team dynamics are very important. Even though you might be a very bright person, might be very outspoken, but don't snatch snatch everything to say to yourself. Don't try to overshadow anyone, because that will only make you look bad. Yeah, and if you can, try to be the good person. If you see someone that's not really speaking up, try to prompt him or her. That will actually make you look very good, because it seems like you're giving other people opportunities. You're not selfish. Yeah, it's that kind of stuff So they want to see how, because of course no company is run by only one person, right? You need a lot of people to work together in a company. So if you're a loner, of course in some cases it will work depending on the job type and whatnot. But in a lot of cases, they want to see how well you'll be able to work with other people, right? If not, later on when you study or when you work, then you might have problems working in a group. Then it'll be a bit of a problem for the company, for example. So our scholarships application process, right? Since I'm already here, I'll just tell you about mine. So I'll talk to you about Petronas and Yayasan Tenaga Nasional, because those are the two scholarships that I've managed to secure. So for Yayasan Tenaga Nasional, the application process online is very easy. You only need to fill very basic details about yourself, and even COCO or whatnot, they don't really ask you a lot, maybe just top 5. But during the interviews, and I asked the pegawai during the interview how they chose students from the application forms, right? So they sort of have a pointer system as well. So it depends on your grades as well as your activeness in co-curriculars, and then they give you a certain mark, for example. And then at the end of the day, they take the top 20 or 30% from the applications they receive to move on to the next stage, which is the interview. During the interview, make sure that you have all your important documents ready. So if you have a CV, if you have a recommendation letter, your SPM results, your certificates. And for certificates, right, try to organize it already before you go there, because I've seen some people during my interview day, they are still like, they have like a pile of papers in front of them. Don't know what they're doing when they're giving the officer their documents, etc. So it will look bad on you, It will be like a minus point for you. And then look very carefully into because when they send you the invitation for interviews, they'll tell you what documents you need to bring. Make sure that you don't miss out any of the documents. Because if you miss out, then it'll look bad on you. Some scholarship providers are more lenient, they'll let you send in later. Some will already be like, yeah, this person don't even know how to prepare. So be very careful and mindful about the things that you need to bring, your dress code. So for example, if they ask you to dress in PJ shirt or sportswear, don't go there, act cool, dress in suit or whatnot, right? It wouldn't look well on you. Follow their guides strictly follow their guides because if they want you to dress a certain way or bring certain things, they would most probably have a certain use for that, right? And then if you're planning to apply for scholarships as well, another thing is that I would recommend you to already get your photostat documents ready now, because you don't want to, before the application deadline, still want to come to school, find pengetua, find your counselors, and there's a lot of people also waiting for their documents to be certified. Then you'll be a bit messy and it'll be a bit stressed for you as well. So yeah, try to prepare everything earlier. So by the time when applications are open, you don't have to be kelam kabut or anything already, right? Okay, back to my interview experience with Tenaga. When we went there, there's actually 2 stages. One is also a psychometric testing. So these are very basic personality test questions. Of course, you never know what they want, but try to answer in a way that makes you look good. Yeah, but definitely you would never know what they want. So maybe just be yourself, and sometimes if you're not the kind of person that they're looking for, maybe you're also not suitable to work in that place and you wouldn't enjoy it, right? Once you're out, once you finish your studies. So don't worry too much on that, because the interview part is the most crucial part, I would say. For YTN interviewers, they have a lot of time. So they do a one-on-one interview, and then for every interviewee, they take 30 minutes. And the questions are very, very random, right? It depends on what you submitted and what documents you brought on that day. So for example, and also the course that you applied for. So if you apply for courses that they are very they know a lot about, for example, engineering or electrical power, they are expertise already, people in KNB, then they'll ask a lot of things about your major. But if you apply for example, I applied for business analytics, right? And they don't actually know what is business analytics at that time. So none of my questions were about my major, actually. Yeah. So my questions were very focused on 2 things, mainly my co-curricular achievements and my family background. So I brought in a file of certs, and then they just looked through and asked me what activities I participated, what kind of one of the questions I remember is you said you have been in a lot of leadership positions, right? Have you organized anything, and how was the process? What difficulties did you face? Because maybe they want to see how you handle yourself in this kinds of situation, and they want to see whether your certs are just for show or whether you have quality. Okay, because quantity is something, but if you have quantity without quality, then yeah, it's nothing, right? So be truthful. Don't try to boast your achievements, but tell them what you have went through and what you have learned from these experiences, right? Because for example, in schools, definitely in activities, you would have periods where you would face difficulties or you would face problems, even in clubs or societies or sports, for example. Just tell them about this and tell them that, I gained blah, blah, blah from this. Make it seem like you're a person with a lot of character development. From this thing, I matured a lot, for example. Because they want to know, of course, they don't mind you failing, but they want to know how you get back up from your failures and how you would be able to be a better person, right? And then for family background, I don't actually know why they asked me about my family background, because I don't have a lot of friends that got asked on that question lah. But yeah, so I just told them how my family was like, what my brother is studying, etc. So the questions are very, very random. Some of my friends got like interviewers asking them to dance their traditional dance. So yeah, be prepared for anything, I would say, because it's very random, very casual, and they definitely don't focus on your academic results that much. Because if you have already, gone until that stage, that means everyone that is there has the same qualifications as you. They have all passed the minimum requirement that is, set for that scholarship, right? So there's no point boasting about your academic achievements anymore. But they want to see things that cannot be seen in your application process, right? So remember to show your X factor. I would say your X factor, or qualities that set you different from other people. Things that make you seem like you would be a good student, and also, this is very important, a good employee for the company. Because I got a friend, he told me like, how people always say to ask questions at the end of the interview? So yeah, this is also a very good tip, but don't ask stupid questions. Ask questions that make it seem like you're interested in them. So my friend only asked a very, very simple question. Is it fun to work in TNB, for example? And he got the interview because he got the scholarship. Because of course, his interview went well as well. And that final question makes it seem like he's very interested to work in the company, because yeah, he's interested to know about the company and stuff like that. So don't ask questions that you can easily Google, but ask questions that can only be known from an insider in the company, right? So, and for Yayasan Tenaga Nasional, they have been cutting down a lot on their overseas scholarship. Sometimes, even if you apply for overseas, you might get local, which is to study in Uni 10, if like Uni 10 offer those courses lah. Then you can, and it's also fully sponsored, so you can also weigh whether you want to accept this offers or not, because they treat their Uni 10 scholars very well. They don't really care as well. Yeah, okay, so that's for YTN lah. Another scholarship that I got is, and for YTN I got business analytics to the US. Okay. Another scholarship I got is Petronas. So Petronas, I applied for economics to the UK, and my preparatory program would be at College Tuanku Jaffa, Sultan. The reason why I didn't accept it is just because I have always wanted to study in the US. So, but the Petronas the Petronas application process is so very simple, and on the PESP website, the Petronas scholarship is called Petronas Education Sponsorship Program, PESP for short. On the website, right, it already has a very detailed guide to guide you through the application process, right? So don't get that wrong, because I have a few friends who messed up the application form, and then of course they didn't even get the interview. But also one thing to keep in mind, right, the Petronas, the way they choose their students is a bit unknown, because I have friends who get like 10A plus and they still didn't even get the interview, right? So yeah, we don't exactly know what kind of factors they are looking for. But even after the interview process, the way they choose their scholars is also very random. Yeah. So, of course, you should have no problem with the application form, because there's no essays as well. It's also, only personal details and like your achievements, etc. Submit it, and then the interview will be a bit later compared to other scholarships, if I'm not mistaken. Around April, and yeah, that's all. And then, for example, for these scholarships, right, even if you don't get accepted first intake, don't worry, because there's always second intake, third intake. Don't give up. Oh, first time I checked, I'm waitlisted, then like give up straight away, cry or anything, right? Because I have a lot of friends that got Petronas on their second, like for the second intake, because first intake a lot of people might reject it, because Petronas offers quite a number of scholarships. Like they offer around 100 overseas scholarships. So there might be a lot of people who rejected it, and then it would open up spaces for them to offer to those who are waitlisted. The interview process, Petronas has two as well, one psychometric and aptitude test, and one interview, right? So for the psychometric and aptitude test, they will already like select, you know, the top 90% or 95%, and then only you can proceed into the interview, right? So if you fail that part, then you'll get sent home early of the day. But yeah, I don't exactly know how bad you would need to do to fail, because even before the interview, they would have already sent you an email containing like a practice test for you to try on the questions. But yeah, the questions on the day that you're doing the test might be a bit harder lah. But just get familiarized with all these kinds of, you know, psychometric or aptitude tests, because you don't want to, you know, you don't want to not get the scholarships because of this kind of things, right? And then the interview process is only a group interview, contrary to my YTN interview experience. And in the group interview, they don't ask you anything about yourself. They only give you, like, for example, a topic, right? And then you would need to discuss on the topic with your teammates. So this is where your team dynamics are very important. I got teammates that are really outspoken, like she really tried to say everything, although it's quite dumb. Yeah. I don't know whether she got the scholarship or not, but I know only 1 or 2 people from my team got the scholarship. So, and they want your answers to be suited to your major. Like, for example, like if you're applying for economics like me, right? Then our question was like how to boost the sales of Mesra stores. Mesra is like, yeah, convenience store and Petronas gas stations, right? And then, like, for example, if you are studying for economics, they will expect you to answer things like, you know, bring in buses or whatever, things that would somewhat boost the economy lah, that would be related to your major lah. Because at the end of the interview, we asked them for feedback, and then that's what they told us. But the thing with Petronas is also, it really depends on your interviewer. Because with Petronas, right, there'll be 20 rooms going, like 20 rooms with the interviewer at the same time, which means and one room has 2 interviewers, which means there are 40 different interviewers. So you don't exactly know what kind of interviewer your interviewer is, and you don't know what they want lah. So maybe, you know, try to read their facial expressions on whether they like your answers or not, and try to gauge from their speaking styles on like what kind of people they like. Because some interviewers, they do like people who speak a lot. Yeah, because maybe they are that kind of, like, you know, people as well. So it's really interviewer based. That's why, right, a lot of people didn't get Petronas, but they don't know why they don't get Petronas. Because, yeah, I would say maybe the, you know, selection process is too varied, because they will also give you a mark at the end of the interview process, but, you know, different people would give different marks, right? Maybe their standards average is 70, but another interviewer, their standard average is 80. But you would have already scored higher with that interviewer, and that would land you the scholarship, right? So, yeah. But in group interviews, definitely, yeah, be careful of your team dynamics. But sometimes luck might not be on your side. You might get like really bad teammates. In that case, just try to do your best. Do whatever you can do, say whatever you can say, and just hope for the best. Yeah, preparations are very important. If there's one advice or like one thing that I wish I would have done during the entire application process is, I wish I would have asked more, and like, you know, maybe reach out for like actual like mock interviews and stuff like that. Because no matter how good of a speaker you are, like, I think you guys know I always speak in front or whatnot, I'm involved in debate. But when it comes to interviews, everyone will be nervous. And when you're nervous, you will. Right? Okay? So you're messed up. So if possible, and especially if you're not very, very familiar with the entire interview process, try to get someone to do a mock interview with you. Try to ask experiences from seniors and everything. Yeah. If you need to know like more in detail as well, can definitely approach me after this or when you need to go for the interview. And then for a long period of time. So maybe we can have JPA scholarships. Ishan and
Okay, so guys, we'll share about JPA scholarships. So currently there are 3 scholarships offered for SPM leavers. So I just got it online. The STPM, the one Michelle mentioned, for 9A plus students to go overseas, and there's another one, JKPJ, our program, and the other one is Program Khas Lepasan Sijil Pelajaran Malaysia, which is for you to study locally, but it's also offered to 9A plus students. But I noticed that this program has a bit of changes. Like for last year, it was automatic. Like we just have to fill out the forms and get get into the uni. So to get the letter from the uni, that's it.
Recommendation for letter from university.
Yeah, but unfortunately this year I noticed that you guys have to attend interview as well for studying locally. So yeah, so you guys can actually look for the information in JPA's official website. So I'll share a bit about my interview experience. So I actually applied for JKPJ and also PPN, but you have to fill out the forms like separately online. So, but it's relatively easy compared to like Khazanah or Bank Negara. You just have to fill out like your personal details, your parents' details, and also choose which course that you want to apply for. So in JKPJ, there's mostly engineering, science and tech, and my program, which is social science, is only in France, I guess. Yeah, and so about the interview process. So my interview process was at Kemaman. Right, yeah. This year I noticed that the venue will be in Kuantan, so lucky for you guys. And the interview process is basically separated into two parts. So the first part is the interview about yourself, so personal information. So you have to give a brief self-introduction, and they'll ask you like your motivation to study. Like for example, I chose economics for PPN and also social science for JKPJ. So they'll ask me what do you plan to do after you study economics, or how can you contribute to the country if you study economics, and whether or not you are willing to work in Malaysia after that and stuff like that. So I think this interview is quite short, really, compared to like the Tenaga interview, which you get like half an hour to promote yourself. This interview you just get like around 10 minutes because it's carried out in a group. So it's in a group of 5. So you go in together. So everyone will get their time to speak like separately. So you just get around 5, 10, like at most 15 minutes to promote yourself. So I suggest you guys to highlight like like what's your strengths and stuff. So like promote yourself during the interview. Tell them like why are you eligible to get this scholarship. So yeah, and so another thing is that you guys have to know what you guys want to study, so that you guys can answer like the questions. Like for example, I have friends who applied for engineering, so they'll ask questions like what kind of major you want to get in engineering. There's like chemical, electrical, a lot of choices. Yeah, so you have to know like not exactly, but at least like have a rough idea of what you want to do in the future, so that you can answer those questions. Like yeah, and the next part is the group interview. It's kind of like a group work if you guys usually do group work in school. So you'll be given a topic. I still remember it was something about kebaikan something. Yeah, it's kind of like
two topic for you to choose.
Yeah. So you guys will get the 2 topics, and then you guys discuss in a group which topic to choose, and you guys will get some time for preparation. So actually, I think this part actually tests like your ability to work in a group, like how you guys communicate, how you lead the group, and how you guys discuss about a matter, like whether or not you're taking opinions from other people, whether or not you're able to lead this discussion. It's important to show it like at this time. So it's kind of like the group interview Michelle mentioned. So you have to be outspoken, but do not take away like other people's chance. So you have to divide the time properly, because after the discussion, you have to do a presentation about what you have discussed in the group itself. And another thing about the JPA interview, it will be carried out using like 2 languages. Like for mine, my first one, the personal interview, it was in English, and the next one, the group presentation thing, it was in BM. So you guys have to practice if you guys aren't fluent enough. So you guys have to practice like now. Yeah, and another thing I noticed is that from last year, I have seniors who went for this interview as well. They had an extra session, which is a team building kind of stuff. So they had like they had a project, like they have straws, is it? And then they had to build like a KLCC tower out of it. So, but for my year, we didn't have that. Activity. So I guess the interview process actually varies from from year to year. Yeah, and a bit of tips that I think would help during the interview is that's what I do lah. Like when we were waiting for the interview, like I talk to other people because there are a lot of people from other places and other schools. You talk to them and understand just share some stuff about make friends, because you might meet them at the other interviews as well, and maybe they might be your teammates, who knows. So I was quite lucky, so I talked to that group of people sitting beside me, and they were my teammates for the next interview, so I felt very comfortable with them and we worked really well. So I guess that was quite helpful during the interview process. Anything to add?
So it's just that one of the things that just like say about the order of the session is not definite lah, because just like I said, the first one is she went for the group interview first, and then the team discussion, the presentation session lah. But for mine is opposite lah. We actually went for the group discussion and then presentation first, and then the interview session. So for the group discussion session, so one thing to take care is because the discussion time is very short actually, so it will be faster. And then but this year it's not guaranteed there will be this session or not. We don't know. So just brush up your BM and English skills. It's very important. Remember to do that. And for the group interview, it's not necessarily done in English. You can choose to BM. You can choose to use BM or English. It depends on yourself. But I use English in that session. And so the questions they ask in the interviews also quite so-called varies from interviewers to interviewers. For mine, they ask something like, if you don't get this scholarship, what will you do? What will you do? What will you do later? Something like that. And then they also ask like, will you come back to Malaysia after? Will you come to Malaysia after you finish the course? So please answer yes lah this question. If you answer no, it's a definite point for you lah.
So I want to add another pro tip. Like that's what I do. I'm not sure whether it's like applicable to others, but for the group session, we had 5 of us. So when during the group discussion, I try to take up like the leader role. So I like get everyone to talk and get everyone's opinion and arrange the points and about the presentation. So I guess like that actually shows how your leadership skills and communication skills as well, which is like a plus, an extra point for you in the interview. And another thing is that like when the results will probably be released in around early May. So if you don't get the scholarship, you can do a rayuan. So you can write like a paragraph and justify why you should get the scholarship and make the rayuan. So so guys, if you don't get it, please do your rayuan.
Yes, please do it because I didn't get it the first time, and then I did the rayuan actually at the very last minute. At the very last hour I did the rayuan, and then I thought I would get a scholarship already at the time, and then suddenly miraculously I suddenly got a call from the intake school that said I actually got the scholarship, which confused me.
Guys, don't be like him. Seriously, do your things like as early as possible, guys, or else you'll panic at the last minute of application and find that, oh shit, I haven't done this. Like a lot of stuff to be completed. And guys, do take note of the application deadline. So here it's until March 18, but I guess they specify the time, 5 PM if I'm not mistaken. So do take note of that.
Please complete the registration as fast as you can.
And also take note of when the results are released, because I remember like my batch, some of them almost miss the chance because they don't publicly announce that the results is already released. Like they don't send an email to you or anything. You need to check it on the website yourself. Like for YTN or Petronas, they tell you like a set time, or they send an email to you like when the results will be released, right? So you would know lah. But for JPA, if like you're not aware and then like no one tells you about it, then you might feel like miss the deadline to accept the offer, right? And you don't want to regret that, right? Because maybe you have already gotten the scholarship and then you didn't accept it in time.
Yeah. And if you guys want to know more about like our programs, you guys can contact us like individually. Yeah, that's it.
You guys also want to share because Zhen Chen also went for the Khazanah interview, and then Xuan also went for the UEM interview. So you can share a bit of about how the process is, I guess.
So actually, so of course I also applied for other scholarships like Petronas, Khazanah, Tenaga. I think that there was also one special scholarship I applied to. It's called the Max scholarship for the Japan. I'm going to talk about the Khazanah first. So the Khazanah interview is the Khazanah scholarship actually have two types. For my year, the first one is for local studies, and the second type is for overseas studies. But for the first four stages, the local studies only have 4 stages. For the overseas studies, there's 5 stages total. So for the first four stages, they are for the local scholars and the overseas scholars, they will interview in the same session. So the first session is not an interview. The second session is also not an interview. Starting from third session, there will be interviews. The first session is IQ test. It is mainly IQ test. And the second session, there will be psychometric test and more IQ tests. And the IQ test is, I think it's not quite possible to complete for an average person, is it? Because the questions are there's many questions. I think like about 200 of IQ questions that you need to answer in one hour of time. Yeah, and it's quite impossible. So yeah, but I noticed the hardest part, the most of people struggle is the English is quite hard. The English IQ will be quite hard because I think the vocab they use is quite high. But and then the questions come in form of comprehension questions. Yeah, there's also a time limit that's very short. I think it's about 20 minutes to answer like five comprehension texts and then 5 maths questions. 5 maths questions afterwards. So just remember to brush up your math skills, remember to brush up your English skills, as they will come in handy in interviews or your IQ test. So but for the second session for my year, I didn't got any English tests on board. They are mostly IQ tests and then maths tests as well. So after you pass these first 2 aptitude tests, the first stage will be interview sessions. So for company scholarship, the interviews, I think they will be more based on the company itself. Because like for Khazanah, it's a very business oriented company. So the interviews are also quite business oriented. Like for the first, there are 3 sessions in the interviews in total. The first 2 sessions is a group. There's also some kind of a presentation. So the first session is they will give you resumes of fictional candidates, and then you have to present about which candidates you want to choose, and they'll give you like 5 minutes to think about it only. And then after that we have then because it's actually done in a group, and then we have to sit at a round table, and then we have to present again about our candidates to others interviewees and then we get to discuss. We get to discuss about the. Then we have to discuss which candidates to choose for which certain positions, and then we give our final answers to the interviewers. So the second session is a bit interesting. It's very interesting because I think they give you a big file, and then in the file there's actually information for a startup project. You have to decide the specifications for the startup projects, and then you have to present why you choose those specifications to the interviewer. And then the third one is personal interviews. You get called in one by one to the room to get interviewed. And then there was the question I got is like, which superhero characters you would like, I think something like that. And also of course they also ask which course you want to study, and then those typical questions. So other than the Khazanah, I think I can share a bit about the Max scholarship. The Max scholarship also is a scholarship that's given by the Ministry of Education in Japan. So, but this scholarship itself is a bit tricky. So if you want to apply for this scholarship, you have to send a letter directly to the Embassy of Japan in Malaysia. So you have to be about two weeks earlier to send the letters. And then so there will be no interview session for this Max. I think there's no interview session for this Max scholarship. There is, but only after you pass there will be a type of exam. So they will do exam for physics, chemistry, maths, and English, and you can even opt for Japanese if you want to. But normally people don't do that. Because this scholarship, I think it's meant for people that want to study in Japan, but they don't know Japanese one. So I didn't go for that interview because I already studied in tech that time, but some of my friends did went for the exam. So for what I hear, the exam is very hard, and I think it's about the level of from STPM level. So I actually don't recommend focusing on this particular scholarship. Yeah, for SPM students.
Yeah, another scholarship I applied for is UEM, Yayasan UEM. That's like a local scholarship where they sponsor you to study A-Levels in KYUEM, if you guys have heard it before. And if you make it to Oxbridge, they'll sponsor you. And if you don't, they'll sponsor you in foreign local universities like University of Nottingham, Reading, and stuff in Malaysia. So it's kind of a local scholarship. Yeah, but you get to study A-Levels in KY. So the application process was like similar to the others, that you fill out the form online. But there's another extra thing that you guys have to do, which is to write an essay. Yeah, sort of like an essay about like your motivation and stuff, like why you want to get this scholarship and why you deserve this scholarship, why you want to study this particular subject. So for me, I applied for law, so I have to like describe like why I want to study law and what's like my motivation and stuff, and how I can contribute to like UEM as well. Like after, because I have to serve a bond as well after that. So so I got into the interview process. So during the interview process, before we started the personal one, there's like a mini test, English and maths. English was relatively easy. It was about grammar, so it was quite easy for you guys, I guess. And the other one is maths. It was slightly more difficult, around SPM level, or there are maybe a few questions like A-Levels, level, something like that. And then after that, you'll be called like into the interview, like individually. So it was an individual interview, something like Tenaga's one. But they'll ask you based on like what you filled out in your form, the online form. So it will be like mostly about yourself. Yeah, like let's say they'll ask you about like your family, your background, and your extra like your coco achievements. Like let's say I mentioned that I debate and I participate in innovation competitions. So they'll ask me about that, like what did you gain from this and what did you do in this activities and stuff. So you can explain to them and yeah. But unfortunately, I did not get to the next stage. Like, so there's another stage after the interview. So I think they'll contact you by email. So after that, there'll be another stage which I have no idea what's gonna happen. So yeah, so that's basically it about UEF. Yeah.
Amalia got both the JPA-MARA and MARA scholarship.
Okay, so I applied for the JPA-MARA scholarship. JPA-MARA and MARA is for Burmese, but then I'm just gonna tell so that you guys have an insight of how the process will go. Okay, so JPA-MARA is exactly the same like JPA, JKPJ, the interview process. There were individual session and also group presentation. So I'm just gonna tell you like what kind of question did I get. So for like the individual interview, they will ask to do a brief introduction, and then they will ask regarding our course that we want to apply. So make sure you did like a research for your course, and then after that it will be like questions like, will you be okay if you are far away from your parents? Won't you be culture shock? And then if you were to get a high-paying job at New Zealand, will you accept the offer and stay there or serve your country? So, of course, you need to answer, you will come back to Malaysia even though you want to stay overseas. Okay, and then, so it's just like a chit-chat session between the interviewer. And then for the group presentation, we were given the topic of teknologi memusnahkan hubungan sosial. So we had to discuss for like 5 minutes, divide the point equally among our team, and then we talked about the introduction courses, just like how you did in school. So yeah, that's basically about JPA-MARA. So I'm going to talk about MARA. For the application, you just have to fill in your details on your website, just simple, and then you will have to take a psychometric test. And the interview is only for like one session, where in one team there are like 8 members, so we have to do a case study. So during my time, we were given the topic to build a landmark in Malaysia to attract tourists to come to Malaysia. So there were points given, 4 points if I'm not mistaken. First one is we have to talk about the materials needed to build the landmark, and then the advantages of this landmark to Malaysia, and the cost to build that landmark, and one more I can't remember. But then we divided our points equally. So this is where the crucial part is. When discussion, make sure you give your ideas so that you won't be too quiet in the group and don't just agree with everything your teammates say. Make sure you give ideas because you are being observed by the interviewer. And then after 15 minutes discussion, we have to present our ideas. And then the interviewer will ask questions based on our presentation. And then after that, they will just ask questions like general questions, like what would you do if MARA doesn't send you to overseas and instead you have to study locally. So you have to give your opinions along with strong reasons, okay? And then questions like Syed Muhtar Al-Bukhari is one of the richest guy, but he did not further his studies abroad. So you have to give your opinions based on that statement. So is it okay if you study locally? So something like that. And then when they ask the question, they don't point who they want to ask. So it's better for you to volunteer first to answer, because then you don't want your ideas to overlap with other people's answer. Okay? And so like my other friend, she was in other group, she got the topic of implementation of vaccine. So like different groups receive different topics. So that's all for MARA. The duration is like for 1 hour only. So it's a very short interview process. So I'm going to talk about PMB. So I went for Pemodalan Nasional Berhad interview. So this scholarship, it consists of 3 stages. The first stage, after you apply it online, you will have to sit for an IQ test and also a psychometric test. So this test is more like English and mathematics question, which you have to do it in like a very short period of time. So after you pass the first test, you will go for the second stage, which was the interview. So the interview, you will be called in a group of 4 people. But even though it's a group, but you will be still asked questions individually. So PMB question is more like since it's a company sponsor, so it will ask about PMB, like what do you know about PMB, and then they will ask about the current issues. So make sure you read a lot on the current issues right now. And then, but I didn't pass for the third stage. But from what I know from my friend, the third stage is more about presentation. You will give it a topic, and then you have to present about the topic. And then after that, is the end of the process. So, I think just like what other scholars say, the important thing, especially during group interview, make sure you show your teamwork and leadership skills. Okay, and then give your answer like with good answer, idea yang macam bernas, so that and then out of the box answer. Okay, so that's why it's important for you to equip yourself with knowledge and current issues. Okay? And then show your confidence so that the interviewer will be confident with your answer as well. I think that's all. And one more thing. Okay. Be confident in terms of your body language, eye contact, and also the way you answer questions. But remember not to be overconfident. Okay. Okay. That's all.
Yeah, so those are just like a few scholarships that we have, application and interview process that we have went through. So we also have some more that can be found on our website, because like currently BGBL is doing article sharing on scholarship application processes. So our first article is up already. It's about the Bank Negara application process. So you can, follow our page, FB and IG to keep updated on these articles. And after this, we'll also most probably add you into a WhatsApp group, and we'll share all of this info from time to time. Just be mindful of application deadlines, because you really don't want to miss opportunities because you didn't manage to apply or didn't manage to send your application, right? That's like the somewhat kind of the dumbest way to lose an opportunity, because in terms of interviews or whatnot, it's factors that you couldn't control, right? Because it somewhat depends on your interviewer. But application, it's all in your hands. How you profile yourself, how you present yourself through your personal statements, etc. So take this opportunity and utilize it to the maximum, so that you will be able to at least get through the first stages of the scholarship application process. Okay, Because as long as you get an interview, there's a chance, right? But if you don't get it, then yeah. So this is just some ways like on how BGBL can help you. So we provide advice on tertiary education related matters in terms of program selections like pre-U programs, major selections if you're unsure on what you want to do and like you want someone to talk to. We can always find experts in that field or like students who are currently studying in that field to talk to you and give you a bit more insights about those fields so that you can decide on whether you think it will be a good suit for you or not, right? And then, yeah, things like studying locally versus abroad, university life, career prospects. Of course, like, although people always say the grass is greener on the other side, but it's not necessarily always the case, right? Even when you go to overseas, there's a lot of cultural differences that you need to adapt to. And like, it's not obviously not the most cost-saving option. And like, you need to be away from your family, right? And not a lot of people can cope with that, to be very honest. And of course, when you apply for scholarships as well, there's also things like cutoff points that you would need to reach, right? And if you aren't able to reach these cutoff points, then you might be stressed out and you might also get sent back and stuff like that. So yeah, always think of all of this once maybe once you decide on what you want to do already or once you get the scholarship, because all of these factors are very important, right? If you break your bond, for example, in the middle of a scholarship, then you might have to pay back quite a big number of money. Or like if you decide not to come back after you finish your scholarship, then your penjamins might have to pay back for you and they'll hate you, I guess. Yeah, so think of all of this, right? And things like university life, and the career prospects that you would be able to, your career fields that you'll be able to venture into once you graduate. We'll be able to connect you with people from these different fields and provide you with advice. And we also provide advice and aid during this entire scholarship or university application processes. So we have quite a big database of volunteers, like scholars and also students who are from different universities locally and abroad. So if, for example, you want to apply to US, we can have people to guide you through the entire application process and like proofread your applications. And if you need like interview preparations or like mock interviews, we can also help with that. Don't be shy to reach out, really. Don't be shy to reach out. Yeah, and proofreading your application essays. I think this is actually very important because sometimes you might think that you're already good enough, or normally when you write, you don't actually notice your mistakes. But when you let another person read it, whether it's a teacher or someone like a senior or whatever, they might be able to find out your mistakes, or they might be able to give you advice on what would be better to include in your statements, right? But also be mindful that the essays and the personal statements are all yours. So you need to be comfortable with what you're presenting to the interviewers, right? You don't want to send it to someone and then they edited like super a lot for you and then it comes back like not your original piece, and when you're asked about it during the interview, you don't really know how to answer anymore, right? So remember that it's about you at the end of the day. So ask for advice, but don't follow it blindly. If you think that this is something that you're the most comfortable with, then to be honest, yeah, go with what you are most comfortable with. And yeah, as I've said earlier, we can also connect you with current students or scholars, industry professionals. So, maybe if you want to try out like job shadowing means like to follow a certain professional in their daily working life or like jobs, and then like just get a touch on like how is it like to work in that field, yeah, or internships or whatnot. We can also try to connect you through our volunteers, or can connect you through like other education initiatives as well, right? So this would be very short because we're running out of time as well. What's next for us, right? Like we talked about pre-U and scholarships, but like where we'll go after this, right? Personally, for myself, I'll most probably be furthering my studies in the United States this August. Yeah, and because for YTN, for example, they already give you a certain amount of universities that you can apply to. So it's very limited. It's only 5 or 6 depending on the courses that you take. So I will need to apply from these universities to these universities, and then yeah, if I get into them, then I'll then choose my option, weigh my options and choose where I want to go to. So that's also another thing with once you accept your scholarships, right? Let's say you got like a lot of scholarships, right? Try to accept everything first. Yeah, try to accept everything first, because personally I didn't accept the Petronas scholarship like right from the get-go, because I'm like, I want to go to the States. Yeah, but I regretted it, to be very honest, because I didn't like the terms that YTN gave me. I wanted to apply to very top universities, but I couldn't. So like, whereas if I would have, went for the Petronas scholarship, I would be able to apply for, universities that I want to lah. So, but because I've already rejected it, I only knew about the university list like in the orientation program that we went for, and it's already too late to, send to accept the scholarship. And after you reject them and you expect, even if you write to them, it's very difficult to expect them to give you the scholarship already. So try to accept everything first, because they won't penalize you even if you say, oh, I've gotten another scholarship after that and I would like to go for that scholarship. They won't penalize you, right? They won't ask you to pay back in that short period of time. So accept everything first and then weigh your chances. Know what you're getting yourself into before making your decision. Okay? Yeah. Ishan, where will you go to?
Yeah, I'm currently in the prep course for France, so obviously it's France. So currently I'm in the university application process, same as Michelle. So there's like a few universities, like around 6 to 7, that is provided by JPA. So I can apply to this university. So I'm given 3 choices, so I can apply to 3 and see like which one I get, and I'll be going there like this year, this September. Yeah.
What are you majoring in?
We have 2 choices for majors. The first one is political science. So you can choose either like in political science there are a lot of other branches. So you have like international relations, economy and society, and stuff like that. And the other one is business management. So you'll probably go to a business school and study like business management, and you can major in like finance or marketing and stuff like that. Yeah, basically.
So again, go to the Japan programs, obviously going to Japan.
Why are you gonna do that?
Yeah.
So for the, as I said just now, I want to study the science. So I've been taking the Johor course in the Japan is for information engineering. So computer science is actually a very broad field. So the thing I will study about will be about computer graphics. Should be I think I kind of made out of this first already. So we study about computer graphics. Although currently machine learning or something like this is most people favor that, but not me. So in the university, because I actually have quite a freedom to choose university. So according to seniors, I want to aim for the very top cities like the Tokyo city and Kyoto city. You have to study really hard since the very year you got into Japan.
Because you're fighting with Japanese, right?
Yeah. Like there will be like 99% of time you need to study. Yeah, you have no time to play. So I think I'm going to
Study.
study
We look forward
to in
Tokyo.
Tokyo
Yeah.
city.
Amalia.
So I would say we studied in Malaysia until 2021, and then after that maybe I will further my study in degree in finance at university.
My major is business analytics. Right? Business analytics is a major that is very new. That's why YTN offers it, but it's actually not a bachelor's degree course, right? Because it's very specialized. Analytics is basically things to do with big data. So there's a lot of data science courses nowadays that are offered by JPA, YTN, Petronas, etc. Because big data is the thing now. Because yeah, we are getting into a world that has a lot of data currently, and we need people to analyze this data. And this is also where computer science is moving into, like from machine learning or whatnot and AI into like this new era, we call it. It's like, I've forgotten the revolution, but yeah. So basically, for my course, right, it's about business data. So it's a mixture of computer science courses and business courses, right? I learned programming in my first year, yeah, and then in my second year, I took up economics classes. But that's also the beauty of our education system because of its liberal arts curriculum. Even when you study in the States, even when I study in the States later, even if I major in a certain subject, I'll still be able to choose a lot of different electives. Yeah, and with my subject combinations, because for my major, I only need, for example, a certain number of credits. I only need a certain number of courses to fulfill my major requirements, right? So I've extra credits, yeah, that I would need to take to fulfill the entire degree. And then from this credits, I would be able to choose like any course, almost any course that I want to. So that's the difference between, for example, a US education system and a UK education system, right? Because in UK, once you major in something, it's very specialized. You'll only be able to study that major itself. So if like you're majoring in economics in a UK university, then your full 3 years will be very, very focused on economics. So it also depends on what kind of student are you, or what are the kind of things that you like. Personally, I'm very, I like things that are multivariate, and I like to explore very different things. So that is why even from the get-go, I wanted to go to the States to study because of its education system. And then, so we are actually going to share these slides with you later as well through either email or WhatsApp. And in this slides, we have also put in some of the important education websites that you should know about, including us. So do check out these websites. For example, these websites will tell you about the different kinds of colleges and pre-university courses, and then some websites will give you a comparison, and then you'll be able to find a lot of details from that, like the cost to study, and then what kind of students it's suitable for, etc. And then these websites, you can find like a comprehensive list of scholarships from these websites. Or if you want a Google search, then you can just type in keywords like Beasiswa Malaysia, overseas scholarships, or Malaysia scholarships. But these websites are sort of updated because I've already checked it. And even the current ones are already on this website. So you can check them from time to time to see whether there are any current, ongoing, or like new scholarships or not. So yay, we're done. Also introducing Daniel. Daniel graduated from the University of Texas in United States. So if you have anything that you want to ask about university life, maybe you can ask Chinman and Daniel about it. You can also provide advices on major or career prospects, etc. So questions.
Do you have any questions regarding the pre-university courses, like scholarships, how do you apply, how do you get scholarship?
Yes, sure.
Yes.
And also, if we have spoken too fast, or if you are still blurred, it's in the morning, right? It's early, and you don't really know what we have been talking about. There's also the live stream on Facebook, right? And it's recorded so later you can go back and look from our FB page, and then we'll most probably timestamp the sections that we talk about. Then you can straight away click into that section and look for the things that you want to, so it'll be easier for you to follow. And after this also, we'll most probably pass you guys a feedback form, Google form as well. And please give us your feedback from the session, like how you think it went, like what could be improved, what you liked about it, what you disliked about it, so that in future when we do this kind of courses or this kind of talks, we'll be able to do it better, right? You guys have any questions? Or are you guys very excited to go for lunch? of you are SPM leavers, right?
Yeah.
So, yep. Also, yeah, those are our social media accounts and personal emails if you want to send us like an email personally to ask about any details. So feel free to reach out. We are very happy to assist you in like your post-SPM journey. Right. Thank you, everyone. Yeah, I think this call is even quieter than